Hello, everyone. This is Dionysus, here with the audio recording of the Southern Gothic tale called Her Crown. My greatest love, my dearest beloved, my sunlight, my everlasting, I am enamored by your love, beauty, and grace. I met you too late to say that I have lived a long and happy life, for my happiness began with you. The beings that dwell in the world outside of ours have taken you away from me far too early. The reasons beneath the immense dread and despair that I feel must be outside of my understanding and only justifiable in its wisdom. The only time I've known happiness was when I was with you. Your love, as bright and as warm as the hearth of our fireplace, burns in the coldest of winter's dreary nights. Its warmth is diminished when in the presence of our love. Your love and affection towards me were my sole sources of true warmth. You were the best I have ever had, and nothing more can quench any desire I may have after you. Like the sun that shines above the earth every day, bringing light, warmth, and life to the world, your love brought light, warmth, and life into mine. Your beauty, the stars in the night sky, as bright and brilliant as they are, could never outshine you. The beauty you possessed was natural. Models and other pompous people spend hours of their life putting effort into changing their appearance to seem more attractive to men like me. Your presence effortlessly quashed any competition. You were gorgeous and flawless. I was the luckiest man in the world to be able to wake up to those beautiful deep brown eyes every morning and take you to bed every night to explore our passions. Your grace, from the moment I first laid eyes on you, I knew you were different than most. I could tell as I gazed longingly into your loving brown eyes that you knew that I was different, a different caliber man in my own right. And because of this mutual and instant attraction between us, you remained. Many before you have rejected me, ran away without a second glance back. I was lonely and living an unfulfilling life until I met you. You gave me love, life, and fulfillment. The three things that friends, society, and even my own family have never given me. I miss you. I'll forever miss you. The cuddles throughout the day, your patient listening, and our mutual worship. There must be wildflowers out west again. I'm sitting on this rocking chair that I built, and I remember you were so proud of me for building it. And I'm looking out the window we always would look through, and I can tell the sun is out. There's not too many clouds, but there's a dense fog that covers the sky that the sun can't shine through. It's dark outside, and they aren't happy. But I grow impatient every day without you. There's not a single day that passes that I'm not tortured by living in this world without you. It's been a little less than a week, and I think today is day 6 without you, and 7 is my day. I came with the idea today, and I'm elated. I decided to write this love letter as a memento to us, a relic of us and our special love that may survive in this world while I chase after your spirit in the next. I could write until the end of time and still not realize our love in writing. It's a fruitless task. So I do my best to draft a short piece with shaking and excited hands. In like fashion, his divine love story is inspirational to today's fulfillment of our love story. When Theseus slew the Minotaur in Crete, he abandoned Erinyia, the princess of Crete and daughter of King Minos. Heartbroken, Ariadne lay alone, weeping on the shores of Crete as Theseus sailed away into the vast unknowns of the Mediterranean. As the divine damsel lay there sulking in her own misfortune, our Father descended upon her, falling in love with her and her beauty. Upon their marriage, our Father immortalized her and immortalized their love by awarding her with her very own divine crown of stars. These 7 stars can be seen in the sky, truly immortalizing their love. And today is our day. Today, I immortalize our love. Although I'm not a god who can create the stars in the sky, I can do the best a mortal man can do. You were gifted with a crown of your own, as most are, and I will receive it today. My hands shook in fear and excitement as I cleaned your crown in the lake we used to walk around every morning. I'll wear your crown upon my head. I stole wine from a local store, and I'll drink it as a prayer that our Father guide me to your soul in the darkness of the unknown that lay ahead. I'm going to cut my throat as my blood gushes out, and down my naked and bare chest our love will be immortalized. I will fade out of this world and into the new one to chase you and be united with you one last time. I'm shaking. Some part in anxiousness and some part in fear, but another in ecstasy as I am close to seeing you again. This is the 7th day, and it is my day of rest. It was a dim day with a heavy overcast in the North Georgia hills of southern Appalachia. The clouds cover the blue sky just enough to allow the sun to cast beams of gold down to the earth. The eventual rays of sunlight that did break through the clouds suffered a second trial to break through the trees and reach the ground where Nathaniel and Taylor adventured. There was no breeze, the air was still, and the spring was at such a stage that it was too cold for summer but allowed for the trees to flourish and grow thick. "Don't smell like it's going to rain. Let's keep going," Nathaniel hollered at Taylor. Nathaniel was an adventurer, always had been. He had an athletic frame with an extroverted personality. He had dark brown eyes, a Roman nose, a clean face, and wavy light brown locks of hair that glowed golden in the sun. He loved the outdoors so much, he'd live out in the woods if his parents would let him. He was a few days shy of 20 and a few weeks shy of graduating college. "I'm down, but give me a minute. I'm just readjusting my pack." Taylor was just as much of an adventurer as Nathaniel, but with more caution and common sense. He stood as tall as Nathaniel, 2 or 3 inches shy of 6 feet tall. He also had an athletic frame, but was more introverted. He had a fresh black fade with the top part to the side, gray eyes, and dark stubble. Both of the boys' adventurous nature is what led them to form their friendship in a bond. The two met hiking at a local and popular trail in the Appalachian Mountains, and after realizing they had a similar love of nature and hiking, they instantly hit it off. "Shit, that's not a bad idea. I can go for a break." After taking a minute to drink and eat a snack, they continued to hike in the northeastern direction towards North Carolina. They were practically at the border, and if they kept on marching, they would have made it to Cherokee County, North Carolina. It wasn't really a hiking trip they were on, but rather an exploration of the area. The area they drove to explore was hardly inhabited. It's the type of area that's not only been forgotten by the state, but has also been forgotten by Walmart and Waffle House. The only signs of life were houses that were situated on the side of a large hill, surrounded by miles and miles of forest. And these forests were the source of the boys' adventure. They had made their way through a thickly wooded area that had not been trailed or mapped out. They had been going at it since about 10 or 11 that morning, and right now it's almost 5. So far, there was nothing notable in these woods. Just the eventual natural opening in the trees that granted the sunlight fighting through the clouds a brief reprieve from breaking through the canopy. Earlier, within the first hour or so, they saw a camp or two of tarps that the homeless and drug addicts use for shelter. Other than that, they were blazing a new trail and leaving nothing behind but footprints and broken tree branches. The heavy overcast left the entire forest with an atmosphere of lighting of dusk. The air was still and just cool enough to wear a long-sleeve shirt and jeans. However, with it being spring, the sun was beginning to descend from its daily travel across the sky, increasing the darkness. The sun's supposed to set around 7. It's getting dark, Nat. We better head before them homeless folks start getting up, Taylor said with a smile, half serious, yet half in jest. "Didn't I tell you we ain't going back?" We can cut straight through the forest, and there's a gas station in the road across the way. We can call an Uber or something to pick us up when we get there. I really want to cut through this whole ass trail here." Nathaniel shot back, annoyed at the idea of turning back. "Well, how much farther we got?" "What, you getting tired?" Nathaniel laughed. "No, but I want to know how much longer we got." Taylor shot back, a little more forcefully than he intended, but feeling challenged and also getting tired. "I'm pretty sure we got another hour or two." Resigning to Nathaniel's ambition and his own curiosity, he chugged the bottle of water he was drinking and mustered the energy and courage to continue for the remainder of the hike with Nathaniel. The sun began to set as they trekked on their journey to the other side of whatever forested area they were in, near the tip of North Carolina and North Georgia. As the sun began to set, Taylor grew more and more concerned with their navigation. "Nat, this forest ain't clearing out." "It'll clear out soon. I told you it'd be an hour or two. Just relax and enjoy the walk." Minutes turned to an hour, and an hour turned into 2 or 3. Flashlights were out. Water and snacks were growing thin, and fear was subtly growing between the two boys. "I just tried calling Mom and Dad, and I ain't got no service up here. What about you, Nat?" He replied solemnly, perhaps realizing his mistake of continuing the trek. "Same." As experienced as hikers that they were, this was their first time creating a trail instead of following one. Although they were advanced hikers, they were novice navigators. Lost in the deep of the Appalachian foothills, a slight panic set in both of them. A crack of thunder off in the distance announced a slight drizzle. They needed shelter. As the drizzle grew to a heavy shower, the boys put their windbreakers on and continued. Instead of looking for an exit, they aimlessly looked for a place to shelter themselves from the rain. Anything. Loose tarp, overhanging shrubbery, anything. As thunder clapped over the surrounding mountains and hills, coyotes howled in the valleys connecting the hill they were on and the thunder-cursed mountains that surrounded them. They continued, sad, fearful, yet unrelenting, until they came upon a broken, rusted, and heavily bent wire fence. Connecting the wiring were vertical logs that were maybe 3 feet tall and were spread apart 10 feet away from each other. Some of these fence posts were leaning heavily, some were as erect as the day that they were put in the ground, and some were gone completely. Thinking that they stumbled on a home or some form of housing, they stepped over the dilapidated fencing just as a flash of lightning illuminated what was before them. A cabin in less disrepair as the fence stood before them. The boys looked at each other, frozen and concerned to if they should approach the house. A loud roar of thunder crashed above their heads, reanimating their souls and urge for self-preservation. They rushed to the cabin. The cabin, more so a shack from the glimpse of the lightning allowed for, was inhabited yet was in surprisingly good condition. There was a front porch that the boys ran to for reprieve from the storm. The building was 1 story tall, wooden, and seemed very old. As they met the front door, Nathaniel knocked. No answer. He knocked harder. No answer. He began pounding on the door. No answer. They grabbed the handle and pushed. It didn't budge. Nathaniel, anxious and eager to get the hell inside, slammed his shoulder against the door, and the door budged about 3 inches. Through those 3 inches, the two saw darkness. There was something heavy on the other side of the door. The boys gave a few more pushes before there was enough space for them to squeeze through the door. But once they got in, their hearts ran cold as they heard the faint crackling of fire and an orange glow illumining some of the room ahead. They flashed their lights around the room that they stood in. In front of them was a wall with various antiques covered in cobwebs. On the left wall was a window, and on either side of the window were small bookcases. To the right, on the right wall, there was nothing but an unlocked chest against the wall. A simple dirty rug lay on the floor before them, and there was a door opening with no door in the corner of the right and in front of them. This led to a room where the moving orange glow was emanating from. "Hello? Is anyone here? We're sorry for barging in, but we're lost," Taylor hollered into the abandoned home. The only response was the heavy rain slamming into the tin roof above, sounding like the constant beating of drums, only to be disturbed by the random crashing of thunder overhead. "At least there's a fire. Maybe the person who lives here will come back." Taylor shut the door behind them as they carefully made their way to the room that lay ahead. Flashlights at the ready, they turned a corner. Taylor ran out of the shack and into the storm. Nathaniel stood there, frozen in terror at what he was witnessing. Sitting before him was the skeleton of a man, sitting in a white and wooden rocking chair, stained with red, facing the fireplace with a fire that seemed eternal. The front of the seat and the wooden floor beneath were stained dark red and brown. To the right of the wooden rocking chair were 3 empty bottles of Merlot. The skeleton had no clothes on. The only item worn by the dead man was the skull of a goat. The lower jaw had been removed, and the nose of the animal skull was facing down. The man was wearing the skull like a mask, like a crown, and the 2 12-inch horns that shot up to the roof before curving away from each other sat on his head like a crown. In the man's right hand was a note which Nathaniel picked up and read aloud. "My greatest love, my dearest beloved, my sunlight, my everlasting, I am enamored by your love, beauty, and grace."